Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Wednesday, May 17th, and a very summery, very warm and humid day out today. And we can't rule out a thunderstorm across the area, but for the most part, we're going to be capped. And I think that's going to prevent any thunderstorm development until maybe later in the day. And we could see a very warm day today. I think highs will be around 85 to 89 degrees, or you can see I put 84 to 88. Either way, we're going to be in mid upper 80s. Wouldn't even rule out if we see mostly sunny skies that somebody might even touch 90 degrees today. So a very warm day indeed, with humidity and dew points way up there, dew points well into the 60s. And you can see in an extended outlook, we're continuing to look at some cooler and wet conditions to arrive as we get in towards the weekend into next week. Lots of 60s for next week. And if we look at the moisture so far for May, you can see all the areas we're at 94% of the normal amount of moisture for the month of May so far. And we needed a little bit of that drier weather to get out into the fields. And again, over the next 7 days, it looks like beneficial rains, nothing excessive here, but they certainly are going to catch a lot of rain off to the northwestern portions of the Midwest. You can see Clarksville also at 50%. Actually, they were at 50% at the farm and over in that area. About 50% was reached on May 10th. And that's where we'll start at only a handful of growing degree days in those first 10 days anyhow. If we look at the next slide, you can see temperatures out there this morning, midsummer-like readings in the upper 60s to low 70s. So very, very warm out there this morning. And if we look at the conditions as far as the soil, as we were talking about the last few days, we'd eventually see all of our temperatures begin to rise into the 60s. And after today, we'll be well into the 60s across all the different soil depths across the area. A little bit cooler over here in the thumb, but they should continue to warm up. And you can see quite dry conditions beginning to show up now, although we're still only 60. That's not terribly dry. You get up around 100 or better, then you start to call that some pretty dry soil conditions. And if we look at the satellite view this morning, thought I had that in animation, but some pretty big thunderstorms developed across Wisconsin and moved into the UP last night. And as far as the radar out there this morning, again, it's not in motion. We had some problems with some of our graphics this morning. But again, lots of showers and thunderstorms well off to our west across Iowa, Minnesota, into Wisconsin and the UP. And that's where the heaviest rain we've been talking about for several days would fall. And if we look at the next screenshot, you can see Doppler radar estimates over the last 24 hours, 5.89 inches of rain over here in portions of north central or west central Wisconsin, and extending back in towards Nebraska and into southwest Iowa. Again, a tremendous amount of rainfall, and they can keep it out there, and we'll just keep taking our ½ inch or so of rain would be just about right. And if we look at the forecast map this morning, you can see another low pressure system that'll be moving up to our west, and that'll bring some very strong to severe thunderstorms across portions of the upper Midwest. And we'll see more as another low pressure system develop. We'll see more severe weather develop tomorrow as we get down into the southern plains, and then that'll move to the northeast. And again, severe thunderstorms possible across the lower lakes. And in between that, I think tomorrow we'll have a marginal risk of severe storms, and you can see the SPC's Day 2 outlook calls for marginal risk of severe storms. Now with the severe storms in the Day 1 off to our west to the east on Day 2, that's because of the peak heating of the day in those two locations. But again, still we could see some marginally severe weather, and I think the biggest threat would be winds, as we expect a pretty strong jet max right here near the Great Lakes. In fact, today we could have just winds from good mixing that's going to be involved with those warm temperatures. We could see wind gusts up around 40 miles per hour in some locations. And if we look at the weather map as we get into Friday, again, the next low pressure system, this is the one that's going to head right towards the state of Michigan, and I think we have a decent chance of picking up maybe a little more rain than some of the forecasts are calling for, but certainly looks like a good quarter to 3/4 of an inch of rain could fall over portions of the MAC area as we get into the weekend right now as it looks. As far as the precipitation here over the next 7 days from the WPC, you can see this area of mid-Michigan would be in some really, overall for a 7-day total, pretty beneficial rains really, and it looks like the bulk of it would come with some thunderstorms tonight into tomorrow, and then again over the weekend, and then we have another system maybe towards the middle of the next week. But again, for these totals only be around 3/4 of an inch or so, we don't expect any of these systems to be excessive. Thanks for stopping by, and have yourself a great day, and 73s to all.